Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Ganganapate Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 24th of December 2024. Today is Christmas Eve. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and saints from all the religions of the world, including Christianity, where so much grace has flowed in the last 2,000 years, 2,000 plus years with the advent of Lord Jesus Christ. In the Sanatan Dharma, most people in Hindu Dharma also have great respect and regard for Jesus. However he may be considered, but his teachings are absolutely fantastic. So since today is Christmas Eve and tomorrow is Christmas Day, we will take a little diversion into Christmas, into the New Testament for today and tomorrow. Look at a couple of verses. Very interesting, what is written in the New Testament. One of the key points that is there in the New Testament is about the manifestation of God in human form. So this is John 1, verse 1, John 1, 14. This is the quote. Let's take a look at this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. All right, so that is the quote from John 1:14. Now, this is interesting. When they say in the beginning was the Word, word means sound. Word meaning sound, it could mean, it depends how this is all interpreted. We've been talking about Omkar, right? So Omkar is the primordial sound. Maybe you can try to possibly connect these together. Maybe, we don't know. I'll have to do some more research on that. But the Word was with God, and the Word was God. What this means, this has many meanings, but it means here that when Bhagavan speaks or intends something to happen, it happens. It is called Ichha Shakti. Okay, so I'm just going to try to present this in the light of the Sanatan Dharma. Bhagavan ki Ananta Shakti hai. God has infinite powers. We don't even know what they all are. We know some of them based on our existence. So there is something called Ichha Shakti, there's Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. The Atma actually is given those three. But they come from the Paramatma. So Bhagavan ki Ichha Shakti hai. Whatever is the desire, the will, the divine will, Divya Ichha, that is what happens. So when the Bible is saying here that in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. It depends how you interpret that. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling place among us. That means that this is the idea of avatar or incarnation, that divine sound, that divine being took flesh, meaning became human. Now, of course, it's talking about Jesus this way. We have seen his glory. So those who were with Jesus at that time, they could see his divinity. And he said that I'm the Son of God, things like that. That's a way of kind of describing it. The glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Karuna. See, grace is krupa. Truth is satya. So Christmas Eve, which is today, is an anticipation of this momentous event. God, the eternal Word, which is Logos, taking on human form. This represents a bridge between the divine and human, the infinite and the finite, right? So there's a bridge between the two. Where we are at the finite level. God, Bhagavan, is the infinite consciousness. Billions of galaxies, like in Vachanamrut, Maharaj कहते हैं कि भगवान के एक और अक्षर के एक रोम में, in Gujarat they said अक्षर ना एक रोम मा कोटान कोटि ब्रह्मांड अणुंदी पेठे फरे छे. What a statement that is. That the Brahma Tattva is such, that we have been talking about in Vedanta, is such that there are infinite number, kotan koti Brahmand upon Brahmand are there in the infinite number, within one speck of the Brahman, one tiny little speck of the Brahman. Just imagine. We cannot imagine even this thing. That is the vastness of Brahman, of Akshara Brahma, or what is called Akshara Dham. Akshara Dham is everywhere. Dham, the reason it is called Akshara Dham, because that is the residence of the liberated beings. That is our destination. So when we leave this body, we become the liberated beings with a divine body inside that abode. That is called Akshara Dham. That's what it's called. It's actually everywhere. The Nirakara Swarup is everywhere. The Brahmand are held inside the Chidakash Swarup. And then another Swarup of that is the form of Akshara Brahma. Right? So the point here is that when we say Bhagavan, we are talking about that tattva that is even beyond Akshara Brahma. Tasmat sharamati-toham aksharaadapi chottama atosmi loke vedesha pratitaha purushottama. Chapter 15 of the Gita. Chapter 15 of the Gita, you know what it is called? It is called Purushottama Yoga or Purushottama Prapti Yoga. What is chapter 8 called? Akshara Brahma Yoga. If you combine the two together, what do you find? Akshara Brahma and Purushottam. The Swaminarayan organization, BAPS, it comes right from the Gita. You see, so the Akshar is chapter 8, Purushottam is chapter 15. And that Akshara meaning that is what the Shankaracharya ji is saying. You are that Brahman. That is what Vedanta, Advait Vedanta is teaching. But it stops there, Advait Vedanta. The Acharyas who came afterwards said that Parabrahman is a higher tattva than the Akshara Brahman. Akshara Brahma is in the second position. The first position is the Parabrahma Purushottam Bhagavan. Swayam wo sakar hai, wo dvibhuj hai, and it is much, much, much beyond Akshara Brahma. Iska koi par nahi pa sakta. Even the Akshar, we cannot, even this galaxies and all that, we cannot understand. Where's the issue of understanding that? Because when we leave this body, this is the interesting part. When we leave this body, there's something called Archi Marg. Archi Marg means the path of light. See, in the Bible also said the light has come into the world. I was just looking at those verses. Let me see where that is. Give me just 1 second here. Yes, this is John 8:12. Jesus himself is saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. This thing about the light comes in the Bible, in the New Testament, again and again and again. That light, that is Sachin's interpretation only, that is the Archi Marg. The Archi Marg hai wo. Archi means path of light. So even the yogis, when they do dhyan, Ashtang Yog jab siddh hota hai, tab sab prakash, divya prakash ki anubhuti hoti hai. Yes. See, when we awaken ourselves from inside by upasana, by grace of God and all, there's an awakening where the agnan falls away. The blockages, the granthi, they're called blockages, knots, they all dissipate. Isme se kya hota hai? Divya prakash. It's a divine light that opens. Yes, the chakras open and the divine light opens. And then there's a path. That light goes all the way, because that light begins to open. Sometimes that light is also called it is called Shivam sometimes. In the Shaiva Sampradaya, they use the word Shiv for that light. Divya Prakash. You'll see in the Shiv mantras, you'll see this. So there's a light like this. It's a marg. There's that stotra, Marga Bandhu stotra also is there. So there's a light that opens up. It's not this kind of sunlight. It's not that. It is a Satchidananda, non-material light. And it opens all the way into the abodes of God. Bhagwan ke dham mein hum ja sakte. We will go. See, so remember one thing. This body is only a cover. This body is a vehicle. That's all it is. It's a vehicle for the soul. The Jivatma is traveling through the body, is experiencing the world through the body. But where will the Jivatma go after this body goes? or if a person goes in samadhi called Yog Samadhi, that depends on upasana. हम किसकी उपासना करते, कैसी उपासना करते, कितना पवित्रता, how much development we have now will determine what will happen when we leave this body. Garada Pratham 14 Vachanamrut. Ante yamatihi sagatihi. That is a Ved, it's from the Vedas, that statement, and it is referenced inside the Vachanamrut. There's a whole discussion about that. So the cumulative psychological consciousness of how we live our life will determine where we will go, what sthiti we will go in, the Atma Tattva will go in after leaving this body. Very important. Kiske saath asakti hai? Anteyamati sagati. If we're attached to passed away dead family members and they are stuck somewhere in different lokas and all that, that's where we will go. We will go where they are. It depends where we want to go. If we're, deeply attached to grandchildren, children, family, who are people alive now, cats, dogs, animals, birds, pets, whatever, then we will be connected to them. Bhagwan Krishna Swayam kehte on this point. It's in the Gita. I'll show you the verse some other time. And then he says, but those who are attached to me will come to me. तो भगवान के साथ, भगवान के जो चरण है, उनका जो स्वरूप है, उनके साथ ही अटैचमेंट रखना, तो उनके धाम में जाएंगे. We'll go to where God exists. So where we go from here depends on our state of desires, our overall psychological consciousness, because Paramatma will place us exactly where we want to go. And based on the karmas that we have done. If we have done a lot of negative karma, God forbid, then there is a fruit, one has to discharge that somewhere. There's ways that happens also. If you've done a lot of positive karma, the Swarga Lokas are there. And if you want to come back into this world again, come back again inside the womb of somebody's mother. Garbhavas. When we see pregnant ladies, immediately the thought should come, Garbhavas. The Jivatma is coming right back inside because of ignorance. Because of Agnan, and now has to go through the whole process all again. Bhagavatam talks about this, right? So we wish well for everybody, but we don't want this to happen. The whole point is we do not want to come back inside the womb. Unless you want to come back, then that is a different matter. So it depends on what we are wanting. So this is why every moment of our life is of paramount importance, because the time is shrinking, and when the body goes, where is the destination? You see, the body is going to go. Body is just a cover. Body is a vehicle. It's a mechanism. It is going to go. But if the destination is Bhagwan ka dham, and if we want really that destination, this worldly experience, we live in the world happily, peacefully, in every which way. But do not take this worldly experience for the eternal reality. We are reacting to it as if it is eternal. It is not. It is a temporary bubble only. That's all it is. This entire sansar, the whole Brahmand is a bubble. Utpatti, sthiti, laya, creation, sustenance, destruction. It is just a bubble, right? So the beautiful point here is that when we are deeply connected towards Bhagwan, and this is in Christianity also, it is called taking the refuge of God, Ashraya, Vaishnav Sampradaya. That's why I showed the video today of the Varkaris. These are the Marathi Vaishnavas. Vaishnav Sampradaya, Nath Sampradaya, Varkari Sampradaya. Varkari Sampradaya is the Vaishnava Sampradaya in Maharashtra. So there's also Shaiva, there's so many Sampradayas all throughout in India, in Sanatana Dharma. But they are devoted towards the Lord, Vitthala, meaning Vishnu, through the name, Naam Ratan. Vitthala, 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 Panduranga, Vitthala. What is this? This is name, taking the name, the holy name. And you can see how that video was, people are dancing around it. They're just lost. What does that do? That opens the doorway into the Archi Marg. That connects with Paramatma, because Bhagwan is Karuna Sindhu. Bhagwan is, Bhagwan is all compassion. He says, if you remember me, I'll come to you. but you have to remember me, that's all. It's very simple actually. Bhagwan ko yaad karna, how do we do that? By taking the name. The name is also God. So Bhagvat Naam, the name that we are taking is also the Lord. So in that sense, there is this connection, there is a great stability, and then we still live in the world doing everything. But again, at the same time, realizing that Jnana and Vairagya protect bhakti, so that bhakti doesn't get damaged. The problem is we do, with most people, I'll just stop with this point. Bhakti comes and goes, अखंड भक्ति नहीं रहती. इसका कारण क्या है? ज्ञान और वैराग्य की deficiency है. It's a deficiency. It's like in the body, if there's a vitamin deficiency, you have to take a vitamin pill, right? The doctor says you have an iron deficiency, you have a vitamin D deficiency, you have vitamin C deficiency, this vitamin, that vitamin deficiency, whatever, B12 deficiency. Some people have to take those shots, the vitamin shot because of the severe deficiency. It's like that. Dharma, ज्ञान और वैराग्य की deficiency है. Or that deficiency, once it is removed, when you have fully developed dharma, jnana and vairagya, what does it do? It protects bhakti, which is the real rasa. That bhakti is the real rasa in life. That is the devotional rasa, and it doesn't stop. It continues in its own way. Beautifully, it continues. It's not like just a very big jolt of bhakti and then it just dies down and diminishes polarity, swinging polarity of emotions. No, not that. It is a very steady, uplifting, increasing bhakti that does not diminish. It is a steady bhakti. The example of the plane that I gave before, right? How the plane takes off. With the wings are there, and then eventually the speed is there, and then the plane becomes airborne. It's like that. Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, once they're fully developed, then the bhakti becomes airborne. It's like that. That our bhakti, then that plane doesn't come down. It will steadily climb to a cruising altitude. Our bhakti is it's kind of the plane is starting a little bit and then stopping, and then starting and stopping, and going to the hangar and spinning on the ground at the airport. Most people's bhakti is like that. It's not taking off. It has to be steady in one place on the runway, like the plane, and then it has to catch speed. Before the plane doesn't just take off, it has to catch a certain pretty good speed. So that catching the speed is dharma, jnana, and vairagya. That allows for that speed. So bhakti is still continuing there. We're worshipping Paramatma. But the takeoff is where now we are in that state where we are not connected to the plane is no longer bound to the ground. And that takeoff, once the plane takes that point, that transition point from the ground to the takeoff, that is where the bhakti becomes unbroken. Until the plane takes off, it can still stop. It can still stay on the ground. It can still revolve. The pilot can shut the engine. This is called vasana. The pilot says, oh, the plane is about to take off. No, I want to get a hamburger. I want to go to McDonald's. The pilot turns the plane off, powers it down, and then takes it back. Plane doesn't take off. Jo vasana jo hai, what is that? That is where we are trying to rise above, and it pulls back and keeps us down. So that is asad vasana. Vachanamrut pe isko asad vasana kehte hain. Okay, so we'll talk more about it. It's a good, very interesting analogy. The plane analogy is an easy one to understand. When we reach cruising altitude, kya baat hai? Then that is called usko brahmi sthiti kehte hain. Anyway, we went a little over time, but this is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to everybody. We love Jesus and his amazing teachings, and we wish well for everybody in the world. May all be blessed by God during this time. Every day for us, every day is like Christmas and Diwali and sab divya din hi hai hum ke liye, right? We have every day is filled with light. That is what we want. So, and that is what we have. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपा ॐ वामे यस्य स्थिता राधा श्रीश यस्यास्ति वक्षसि वृन्दावन विहारं तं श्रीकृष्णं हृदि चिन्तये। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्ष्यमामृतात्। ॐ दिव्यलिङ्गाय नमः, ऊर्ध्वलिङ्गाय नमः, आनन्दलिङ्गाय नमः, आत्मलिङ्गाय नमः, परमात्मलिङ्गाय नमः। ॐ श्री द्वादश ज्योतिर्लिङ्गाय नमो नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डायै विच्चे स्वाहा। ॐ दुर्गे दुर्गे रक्षिणी ठः ठः स्वाहा। ॐ श्री दुर्गार्पणमस्तु। ॐ श्री राधा कृष्णार्पणमस्तु। ह्रीं